Alongside my broadcast partner, Jake Starr, my name is Bob McCool, and our guest on the pregame show is Reading Phillies starting pitcher Griff McGarry, who has been working his way back into the rotation, coming out of spring training with the oblique strain. Got a start on Wednesday night, ended up going 4 innings, 56 pitches. All things went pretty well on the surface, Griff. How do you feel right now in terms of the rehab?
Yeah, man, I feel great. They did a great job down in Clearwater, getting me healthy. Appreciate the entire rehab staff down there getting me right. Body and arm have been feeling pretty good so far, so just looking forward to kind of building off, how I've started off the year.
There has to be an element of patience, obviously, in this, and how has that piece of the puzzle worked for you? Because I know, obviously, the competitor wants to get going right away, and they're telling you you're only allowed to throw X amount of pitches, and you're probably thinking, I can go longer.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just, being back with these guys and this team. That's what I was looking forward to most. Just being back in a baseball environment, watching games every day, seeing my guys compete out there. I think that's what's most important to me. And, definitely got to be a little bit patient. It's a slow build-up, but I kind of anticipated that coming into it, so I knew what I was getting into.
And to segue off that, you mentioned being back here in Reading for another season. Talk about that experience coming up to Reading last year, and how was it just with the team here, but also with the environment, the fans, and everyone?
Yeah, I mean, baseball town's a special place. I saw it from day one. The fans are into it. It's a pretty historic stadium. It's pretty cool. This year, I love the guys in the clubhouse, love the staff, so it's been really enjoyable so far, and I'm really enjoying it.
Wednesday night in the pregame show, we talked with Al Padrique. Last night, we talked with your catcher, Max McDowell. Both of them used the same exact words independently of each other about your stuff. They both said the word electric. I don't know exactly how that translates from your perspective, but what is it about your stuff from your perspective that you think could be effective and get out eventually major league hitters?
I think a lot of times in baseball, I feel like what can allow a guy to have success is a unique pitch. I feel like my fastball is a little bit more unique than a traditional fastball. Obviously it's just, in my eyes, I'm just going out there and competing, doing my thing. I think, my fastball gives me a little bit of advantage. It's just a little bit different movement profile. And that's what they might mean by that,
And the guy on the mound tonight, Mick Abel, you, Mick, and Andrew Painter have been 3 guys that a lot of Phillies fans have kind of categorized together as the 3 big pitching prospects that are up and coming. The 3 of you had a chance to spend a lot of time together, especially in spring training. What was that like? What's it been like working with those 2 and just being friends with Andrew and Mick as well?
Yeah, I mean, this spring was a great time with them. We all lived together and all get along really, really well and have gotten pretty close over the past few years. And, obviously they're amazing guys on the field and, you see what they do, but off the field they're great guys as well. Both of them have really good work ethics and, it's funny being the oldest of those 3, I'm still learning so much from these guys 2, 3, 4 years younger than me. They're 2 great guys. Love watching them pitch and, I'm excited to watch Mick pitch tonight.
You mentioned their age. Painter's 19, Abel's 21. You're going to be 24 next month. I guess that makes, as you said, are you like the crazy uncle? I mean, are you the guy that they look up to? How is that relationship, the bond between the 3 of you? How has that evolved?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say they're a little bit more mature than I am immature. They're both mature guys, and they can fit in any clubhouse with any age. So, it doesn't feel like I'm too much older than them, but deep down I know I am. But
you had a chance in spring training to spend some time with the big club and the Phillies. Who were some guys that you kind of latched onto to try and learn from, take a lot of advice from?
I mean, there's guys like, I feel like I got a lot closer with Mark Appel. He's obviously an amazing story, but just really, really cool human being and, cares a lot for everybody that was in that locker room. And there's tons of guys at that level. It was more just kind of, be quiet and take it all in, be a sponge. That's what, Brian Kaplan had told me coming in. He said, hey, all you can do is just receive information and learn from these guys, watch their work ethic. You watch a guy like Nola, or Strom, Wheeler, all those guys, how they go about their business and the way they compete out there. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, I would say less talking from my end, more just listening to those guys and hearing their stories. You got Craig Kimbrell in the locker room, who's done it all in his career, and he's got one perspective. And you've also got those younger guys in that clubhouse who are going out and doing it. So it's definitely a pretty unique group, and I had an awesome experience this spring.
Just to follow up on Jake's question, talking with McAble after that, when he was first here at the beginning of the season, he made reference to the fact that he was able to talk to some of the hitters and learn some things from the hitters as to what they were seeing. Now that was a kind of a different twist on it. Obviously, you want to talk to a Nola and a Wheeler and find out what the veteran pitchers have to say. But he was looking at it from the perspective of, here's what the hitters are seeing, and these are major league hitters, the guys I want to get out someday. So he's learning as much from what the hitters are telling him as much as what his fellow pitchers are saying.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in those early live at bats when we first got there. We're facing all those guys up on that team, and a lot of them, after you face them, you come out, you're in the dugout, and they're like, hey, I love this, like that was pretty hard to see coming out, or like, hey, keep that 3-2 count to go to that changeup, like that's a good pitch, be confident in that. So yeah, I think those guys want to see everybody succeed, and definitely are willing to provide feedback, especially even though I'm on the minor league side, they're still willing to help me out, and that's pretty cool.
Throughout your time in the Phillies organization, you've also had a little bit of experience pitching out of the bullpen. It's a question we asked Tyler Phillips and Ethan Lindell a couple of weeks back too. How does that mindset change from days where you're starting versus days where you're in the bullpen, where you kind of have to be ready at any moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's less on your own pace. It's more on the pace of the game. So you got to be able to really control your adrenaline, control your body a little bit more coming into that game, especially in a big situation. It's definitely a little bit different than starting, but I enjoy doing both. Both kind of have their own individual positives. So yeah, they're pretty cool.
Just to backtrack a little bit, in the offseason, Dave Dombrowski pretty much said flat out that he expected the fifth starter to Phillies rotation in 2023 to be one of his young pitchers, and just things didn't work out that way. Your injury, Andrew Painter's injury, Bailey Falter just didn't get it done. But I'm just curious, from your perspective, did that change anything for you in the offseason as to how you prepared for this season?
No, I wouldn't say so. I was pretty happy with my first professional offseason, and I just want to keep it consistent as possible. Down in South Florida, working out at Cressy Sports Performance, and really enjoyed it there. Just wanted to come into spring training healthy and make sure I was ready to go, and I felt that way. And unfortunately, towards the end of the spring, I had that small injury, but I'm feeling good now, and just want to build off how I've started this season.
Contrary to the other two, you were drafted out of college. That experience pitching at Virginia, what did you take away from that maybe makes you feel like you're in a really good spot when you entered your professional career?
Yeah, definitely. I think, playing collegiate baseball, you're just kind of put on a bigger stage. So I think that's a good introduction to professional baseball. It's definitely a little bit different, but the lessons, the values, everything that you learn in college from the organization or program you're in, I think it goes a long way. And I'm grateful for my time at Virginia. I feel like I learned a ton about how I need to carry myself in the weight room, in the training room, off the field. All those things I think prepare you well for professional baseball, and you're in more of a group element in college, and you spend a ton of time together. Here it's a little bit more individual. Obviously you spend time with guys at the field, but I think being able to function and do everything you need to be doing off the field, I think is important. And yeah, I mean, I learned a ton there, and I'm grateful for my time there.
You're listening and watching the pregame show. Again, the Fightin' Phils and the Harrisburg Senators tonight. Our guest is Phils pitcher Griff McGarry. Griff, you mentioned about Virginia. Alex Coffey of the Philadelphia Inquirer just wrote a story after your start the other night about your relationship and with your coaches at Virginia, who you kind of went to a flashback to them to give you kind of a timeout almost on the mound for you, almost giving yourself a mental break on the mound to refocus yourself. And I thought it was a pretty interesting component.
Yeah, that's something I've been talking about the past year. a lot with the Phillies staff as well. It's just kind of a recurring theme to, when I was looking back on where I was successful and kind of my longer outings is when I was a little bit more calm and in tune with my body, and those 1 to 2 second resets can be really beneficial for me. So whether that be just tucking the chain in, or being off the back of the mound, just taking a sec, thinking about my intention, going to the next pitch, I think goes a long way. And I think that was kind of a theme that I had towards the end of my career at UVA, and then even into pro ball. Not only coming from me, but from our staff here. They see it and they're recommending it to me. So that's something I'm going to continue to work on. And I've been doing a pretty decent job with it so far this year. So I really want to focus on that. Coming into these next few outings.
So last question from me. You're getting to a point now where you're getting pretty stretched out. Each start, innings have increased, pitch counts increased. So now you're going to get to a point where the injury starts to get more into the rearview mirror. When you look at kind of your goals, both short-term and long-term, where do you kind of see yourself, heading out to?
Yeah, for me, it's just the most important thing is consistency, and I think a big component of that is just, being where my feet are, exactly where my feet are, not really focusing on too much outside, just, going out and competing for this team and just doing the best I can to, really keep my head where my feet are.
You mentioned the clubhouse a couple of times, and I think it's worth noting because everybody we talk to, whether it's Al Badrika or any of the players, have talked about this clubhouse, and even though the wins have not come at the pace that you want them to, it seems as if this clubhouse still feels as if it's going to happen. We're going to get hot. We're going to be okay. And you're talking about you couldn't wait to get back to this clubhouse. So obviously you have felt that from the time you have arrived.
Yeah, definitely. I said it earlier. It's a great group of guys in there, and some of these games haven't really gone our way towards the end of it, but I think we'll definitely hit our stride pretty soon. Guys are playing really well. We're putting together some strong outings. So yeah, I think hopefully there's a turning point soon, and hopefully that's tonight.
That's a great way to end this. That's the perfect way to end this. Let's hope it starts tonight. Fightin Phils and the Harrisburg Senators, as you're watching on the Reading Fightin Phils Radio Network. We're going to take a timeout, and we'll be back with starting lineups and first pitch. Phils and the Senators coming your way next.